The Venezuelan government says the opposition presidential candidate Edmundo González, who challenged President Maduro in elections in July, has left the country. Mr. González had been taking refuge in the Spanish embassy in Caracas, but has now left for Spain. The Spanish foreign minister says his country is offering Mr. González political asylum.
Les confirmo que Edmundo González.
I was able to speak to him once he was on the plane, and he expressed his gratitude to the government and to Spain. I told him how happy we are that he is well and on his way to Spain, and I reiterated the government's commitment to the political rights, freedom of expression and demonstration of all Venezuelans. We reiterate our demand that the vote tallies be presented, that they be verifiable, and that we will not recognise a victory if this cannot be done. Spain will always be there to promote dialogue and negotiations between the government and the opposition to reach a peaceful solution among Venezuelans.
The Spanish foreign minister there. Well, Dr. Vanessa Neumann is a former Venezuelan opposition ambassador and Latin American security expert, and she explained what the situation's like for the opposition in Venezuela.
Well, I understand, the repression in Venezuela. I sort of anticipated this, that Miraflores, he would not give up the presidential palace, and having not presented the vote tally, as your reporter said, he needed to go because he was going to be surrounded. They're surrounding all of the embassies that are taking refuge of all the protecting the asylum seekers of all the opposition. They surrounded the Argentine embassy, which is now being sort of under the protection and representation of Brazil, and the Spanish embassy. And when I was ambassador to the UK, I had a lot of friends who were taking refuge in the Chilean embassy, and they wait for to find some way to get their hands on and kidnap, violating all international law, to kidnap opposition leaders. Edmundo González very credibly won the election, and this is a war of attrition. Basically, Maduro will not show the numbers, and instead just seeks to squash every leader and take him to prison. And we need a leader.
As you say, President Maduro hasn't released the voting data, but many countries, including the US and Latin American countries and the European Union, aren't recognizing President Maduro as the winner without that detailed voting data being released. Do you think that there is any eventuality in which that data may be released?
No, I just don't. I don't think he'll ever release it, to be honest, because he can't. It's very difficult to forge. It's nigh on impossible to forge, really, which is why he won't release it. What's interesting about Edmundo González seeking asylum in Madrid is that a lot of the opposition is here in Madrid, but it's also, and the actions of Maduro speaking out against Brazil, Lula, of course, who's a fellow leftist, and Sanchez, Spain's government, is leftist as well, is that these are legitimately elected leftist governments who are now getting the blowback from a Maduro who is not legitimately elected. So it's starting to bite back on Maduro, the failure to show the numbers.
So we've got Mr. González arriving in Madrid for political asylum. What do you think happens next, Vanessa? Where does this leave everything?
I really don't know. To be honest, anybody who tries to make predictions about Venezuela is inevitably proven wrong. It's sort of it's so what the British audience will understand is sort of the Afghanistan of dreams of democracy. It is. I think that we are headed to sort of a more and more internal conflict. There are two different options, really. 40% of already 25% of Venezuelans have fled the country, nearly 8 million people. 40% of those that remain, since Maduro has refused to show the numbers and respect democracy, are planning to flee as well. So that unleashes a huge exodus, the likes of which the world really has never seen an international exodus of this size, even without war. And then on the other hand, we are facing a country, Venezuela, that has, even more than when I was ambassador, is far, far more rejecting of Maduro. So you have deeper ingrained internal civil war potential conflict and then a massive exodus. But I do not see Maduro, getting on an airplane to Cuba or anywhere else to turn over the reins at Miraflores Palace.
Dr. Vanessa Neumann there.